Good morning, dear class 8 students. Let us continue the second chapter, the Industrial Revolution and Imperialism in history. Last week, we have seen up to the features of Industrial Revolution. So, in this week, let us see the another point, that is, why did Industrial Revolution begin in England? So that is the topic which we need to go through it, and then here I am explaining to you about this topic. So why did Industrial Revolution begin in England? So what is the reason that Industrial Revolution started in England first of all? So there were many factors, there were many reasons that led to the Industrial Revolution in England. So there are many reasons why in England the Industrial Revolution started. So first we have the new scientific knowledge and inventions. So dear students, England was the first country who developed scientific knowledge, and also he discovered many things or many machines, let us say. So the increase in the demand for the manufactured goods encouraged technological invention. So when we talk about England, it slowly increased its own manufacturing goods, and the demands of these goods that grew up in many parts of the world. So now in order to fulfill these all goods, prepared goods, now England needed to use the machines and to get help from the technological inventions or discoveries. So that's why now it started using the machines, and through these machines he started manufacturing the goods as much as according to the requirement. And then here we could see some inventions that led to the foundation of Industrial Revolution are, you can see the inventions and the inventors. What are the inventions done by the scientists? So you can just go through with it and then you just understand. Now let us see the agricultural revolution. So as we could see, agricultural revolution in England of mid 17th century paved the way of industrial revolution. So agriculture also supported in big number to start what is called the industrial revolution in England, because through this agriculture now England could get huge amount of raw materials which were produced through the agriculture work. So now in order to manufacture these all raw materials, England thought of introducing the machines, so that these all huge amount of raw materials could be utilized in a proper way for the people, for the people of the world. So introduction of the improved method of agriculture and consolidations of land holding led to increase in the agriculture output of England. So this way we can see the output means the product was increased in England through the agriculture work, and then raw materials were availed to the factories in England. Use of new tools for agriculture replaced manual labor to the large extent. So the new agricultural machines like tractors, plowing machines, and many more new machines for agriculture were introduced by England. So this supported the farmers of England to cultivate huge amount of raw materials. This labor force was then diverted towards town and cities to work in the industrial economy for the low wages. So you can see after the introduction of the agriculture machines, now here the people were not required to work in the agricultural land. So there are people who are jobless now. So they moved towards factories to get the job, leaving their own lands. So they were ready even to work in these factories in a low salaries. So that is the first reason. Now stable government. So England in the 17th century witnessed a period of relative peace and stability. So in 17th century England did not join in any battle, or it maintained peace and prosperity in England. So England did not even involve itself in the battles. It was isolated from the European and its Napoleonic War. So it did not go for any war in England against any country. It did not go against any country in the war in Europe. The the relative peace in England proved nourishing for its economic growth. So England decided to establish peace in its own country, and that helped England to develop the economic growth peacefully. Now Protestant religion. So England basically became the uh, follower of Martin Luther, and then here the Protestantism was established. So here all the Protestant or the followers of Martin Luther, they were encouraged to develop more money or to increase their money and to become the capitalists. Capitalists means the rich people, and further made the advancement of the industrial possible. So these all Protestant Christians, they supported England in the growth of Industrial Revolution in England, because they donated huge amount of money for the industrial growth or the industrial establishment in England. Now surplus capital. So surplus means the extra amount of money. An active involvement in the overseas trade. So England was at the time one of the strongest country which went and opened many, we would call the business centers or the market centers in all over the world. So since England had a overseas trade, I mean the trade with the foreign countries, the commerce or the economy grew up very quickly in England. So if we talk about wealth wise or money wise, England became one of the strongest country of the world. And so this is the reason surplus capital, extra amount of money also supported England to develop the industries in England. The surplus capital was then used to foster new scientific ideas and develop new industries. So this is the point here. Now availability of the cheap labors. So dear students, as machines were discovered, the agriculture led to unemployment in the rural areas. So as the scientists of England started discovering new machines for the manufacture of goods, the many people in rural area, they became jobless. These people migrated to cities and towns in search of jobs. So now the people are moving to the towns in order to get jobs. This created an enormous labor force. So that's why the companies or the factories, they got huge amount of workers in their company. So these all workers even were ready to work in the factories in the low wages, in the low salaries, because in working in the agriculture land, they did not get much benefit. So that is the reason they left working in their own fields or agricultural lands. They moved towards cities and towns to get job in the factories. That is the another reason why the industrial revolution started in England. Now availability of the coal and iron. So coal and iron were the essential resource on which the industrial revolution was built. So the machines were basically built by using the iron. So iron was used to make machines and coal was used to run them. So at that time petrol and diesels were not discovered. So the machines were run by the force of we call the fire, and from where that fire used to uh, or where that the force of fire used to get the people, they used to get the force of fire from the coal. So coal was used to run the machine. So both were in abundance in North England. So these two things, coal and irons, were in huge amount of in North England. Now naval supremacy. Naval supremacy means the navy power, समुद्री सेना की ताकत. So the English Navy, so English Navy power or the naval power known as the Royal Navy was one of the strongest navy of the world. So at that time England had one of the strongest sea soldiers power. That means the जल सेना की ताकत इंग्लैंड में बहुत ज़्यादा थी. उस समय इंग्लैंड दुनिया का सबसे ताकतवर देश था समुद्री लड़ाई में, क्योंकि नेवी जो है वो समुद्र में लड़ाई करती है. ये जल सेना जिसको हम बोलते हैं. When Industrial Revolution began, the Royal Navy was used for trade and exploration to acquire colonies in Asia and Africa. So the ruler of England, they used Royal Navy for protecting their business and the merchants during the trade and business. So even by the support of Royal Navy, England opened so many colonies in Asia and Africa. That means England started or captured so many small countries or big countries in Asia and Africa, and from there England used to get all the raw materials. Like our country, India also was the colony of England, and it got huge amount of raw materials from our country, India, and it used for its own benefit. These colonies were used for suppliers of cheap raw materials and ready market for the finished product, and England used to get the raw materials from these all Asian and the African countries, and also same raw materials after when it is ready by machine, they used to send it back, or the merchant used to bring it back to the country in the Asian and African markets to sell them. This stimulated industrial growth. So this way this supported the industrial growth in England. Now let us little bit talk about the spread of industrial revolution. How did it spread in England? Originating in England, the industrial revolution spread in its neighboring countries like Belgium, France, and Germany. So by taking the example of England, many more countries like Belgium, France, and Germany also they started opening industries or factories. Soon after, it swept across the whole of Europe and United States of America, and